I'm Jeremy Burton, CEO of the Jewish Community Relations Council. We are gathered, united in our grief for the horrific taking of so many innocent lives this last Shabbat, for the murders of our friends, our relatives, and our families, too many to name individually today, but all of whom are in our hearts. We gather united in our outrage for the atrocities committed against the Israeli people, because there can be no equivocation and no justification for these terrorists who chose to initiate this attack and who have taken the lives of at least 800 innocents and more than 100 hostages, including many elderly and children. And also, we are outraged that the perpetrators of these war crimes, the Iranian-backed terrorist organization Hamas, are once again using innocent Palestinian civilians as their human shields as they seek to escape accountability for their crimes. And finally, we gather united in our strength. We are strong because we stand together with each other and with the Israeli people. And with the support of all decent people, Israel will continue to be strong. Boston stands with Israel. And with the unyielding support of the United States, Israelis will defend themselves, they will endure, and they will have justice for the horrors of this past Shabbat. And now, allow me to invite up Rabbi Sharon Cohen Anisfeld, President of Hebrew College.
Beloved community, over these last 2 heartbreaking and harrowing days, these words from the book of Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastes, have been reverberating in my mind. Et lachashot ve'et ledaber, a time to be silent and a time to speak. How do we know when it is time to be silent and when it is time to speak? In this moment, a part of me trembles and feels perhaps now is a time to be silent, to resist the rush to language that would make sense out of such senselessness, to let ourselves feel speechless in the face of such unspeakable horror, to be humbled by the inadequacy of our words, to touch the pain that so many are feeling. But then I hear from loved ones in Israel and they say, thank you, it matters so much that you call. It matters to hear your voices. It matters to know you are with us. And we know that now is a time to speak, precisely now. It is time to come together to offer our full-throated prayers for all those who are grieving, those who are wounded, those who are sick with worry for their loved ones, those who have been kidnapped. Please, God, may they be returned safely home. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who releases those who are imprisoned. It is also time to come together to say clearly and loudly words like those shared by Jonah Shem Tov, Executive Director of Encounter, last night. Jonah has dedicated her life to seeking a resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict with a commitment to the dignity, security, and rights of all parties. Last night, Jonah wrote, "Attacking civilians is a war crime, full stop. Kidnapping civilians is a war crime, full stop. There can be no justification for what has unfolded since the early hours of Shabbat. Hamas must be condemned without reservation, full stop." These words of unequivocal condemnation are also words that need to be spoken aloud right now by Jews and non-Jews alike. They must be spoken by those of us who will continue to speak out for the cause of human dignity and for peace. It is the only way we can continue to do so with integrity. I know that so many of us are feeling heartsick and unmoored. In the face of our sense of helplessness, it is all too easy for us to weaponize our own words against each other. One word to the left, one word to the right can feel like a betrayal, an unbridgeable gulf. Please let us not turn our words against each other. In this time of still unfolding terror, may we turn toward one another as a community with love. May we choose our words carefully and with compassion. May we resist the temptation to despair. Adonai oz le'amo yiten. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God grant us strength and peace.
Amen. We welcome Ambassador Meron Reuben, Consul General of Israel to New England, and on behalf of everyone here today, we convey to him the full support to be directed back to the Israeli people of our community.
Thank you, Jeremy. First and foremost, when I was told that there would be this solidarity for the state of Israel, I said to myself, we are in a long weekend, we are in a holiday, and people are away. And yet, I look at the sea of people in front of me, and I can only say thank you, Toda Rabba, for being here and coming out and showing your solidarity with the state of Israel. Unfortunately, as you know, Saturday will go down in the history of modern Israel as our darkest day in the modern times of Israel. We are at war. This is not another terrorist attack. This is total and outright war with the terror organizations that have come and poured across the border with the Gaza Strip. And unfortunately, this is going to be a long haul. As you know, they came in by land, by sea, and by air, and they took over more than 20 communities, kibbutzim, villages, and into towns, shooting indiscriminately and going from house to house, killing people. I do have a written speech, but I'm going to fold it up because I can't. I can only talk from the heart. My youngest daughter was called up to reserve. She's 23. She's in a unit that unfortunately has to go from house to house, searching for, sifting through the bodies of the children, the women, the adults. It's something indescribable. It's something that none of you can really imagine. Not only that, is that I keep seeing before my eyes the pictures of the more than 3,000 youth at a rave concert for peace. They danced all night, and in the morning, as the terrorists broke through, they were then massacred in their hundreds as they tried to run away from being butchered in the sands astride the Gaza Strip. Unfortunately, we know of a minimum of 260 killed just out of the students and nearly 1,000 wounded, if not more. And that's just in that one concert. Imagine yourself at that concert. Imagine your children at that concert. And then look at your grandmother and see the 85-year-old grannies who have been kidnapped and pulled across the border into the Gaza Strip, the babies, the mothers. The pictures that are coming out are horrific. Now, I don't know if you know, but over the decades, Israel has done its utmost to shield its population from these horrific kinds of pictures. But this is different. This is totally different. We have with us now in these days, we need the world to understand what we are going through, what we have to deal with, and the enemy that we face. This is not the kind of thing that people can understand without seeing it with their very own eyes. I can see amongst the pictures here, pictures that I saw this morning when I woke up of a family who were butchered, a mother, father, and 3 beautiful young daughters in front of me. The names, as was mentioned, are too long to say. I do want one message to come out of here, apart from the fact that we are strengthened by your support and by the unbelievable group of people and politicians and those who lead Massachusetts who are behind me. And thank you very, very much for being here and showing your support with the state of Israel. The one thing that I want to understand is that this is going to be a long and drawn-out conflict. It's not going to be easy, but this time will unfortunately be different. And I would like you to stand with us, not only today and not only tomorrow, but for the days, weeks, and months to come. Thank you very much.
Our communities are deeply connected between Boston and Israel. Please welcome the co-chair for the Leadership Development Committee of the Boston-Haifa Connection, who happened to be here this week from Haifa, Shiri Greenfeld.
Good afternoon. Today, as I stand before you, representing a delegation of young leaders from Haifa, Israel, I am overwhelmed by a profound sense of grief and sorrow, but also gratitude for your support. Each one of our delegation members knows someone personally, a family member, a friend, a neighbor who has been killed, severely injured, or kidnapped in the recent attack and ongoing war. Some participants were not able to come as they were called for reserve duty. Right before the rally, we received news that the north border is also under attack, and my friends in Haifa are working on evacuating their homes because they have no shelter. Being here in Boston, thousands of miles away from our homeland, our hearts ache with a sense of helplessness. We watch, we pray, and we yearn to do more. We wish we could be there to hold the hands of the grieving and to stand shoulder to shoulder with our fellow Israelis, our families, our brothers and sisters. I'm sure this is a feeling that many of you share as well. It is in times like these that the bond between Israel and the United States shines the brightest. This bond isn't just a mere connection. It's more than a bridge across continents. It is a dynamic vehicle, continually driving us towards mutual understanding, shared experiences, and collaborative efforts. When we speak of the over 30 years of connection between our cities of Boston and Haifa, we don't just speak of a partnership. We speak of a living, breathing conduit of shared aspirations and dreams. This bond is not the final destination. It's the journey, the pathway that leads us to make tangible, positive change in the world. The outpouring of support we've witnessed here from the Boston community is truly incredible. Your empathy, your compassion, and your unwavering belief in the spirit of Israel fills us with hope. It's a reminder that even in our darkest hours, we are not alone. I implore each and every one of you, keep advocating for Israel. Keep your connection alive, because together we have the power to light up the darkness, to bridge divides, and to pave a path towards a brighter, more hopeful future. Thank you, Boston. Your support is our strength. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. תודה רבה.
Folks, we're trying here. There are many, many public officials in Massachusetts who have spoken out in solidarity and support with Israel and with the Jewish community in the last couple of days. It is impossible to acknowledge all of them who are up here, both behind me on the bandstand, and I know several of you are in the crowd who have texted me. But I want to acknowledge and name for everybody here that we, the Jewish community in Boston, do not stand alone here today and here in our support for Israel. And to begin to express that, I'm pleased to welcome our dear friend, the Governor, Maura Healey.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy, and everyone at the JCRC, Consul General Reuben, and the Israeli community. Shiri, thank you for reminding us how close we truly are. Rabbi Baker and Combined Jewish Philanthropies, Director Skolnick, Vice President Carmel of the Israeli American Council of New England. Most importantly, to all of our dear friends in the Israeli and Jewish communities in this time of unimaginable terror, grief, and anxiety, and absolute anguish. We stand with you. Our hearts ache with you. And our constant prayers are with you and your loved ones here and abroad all over this globe. I also want you to know that our support is unwavering. Massachusetts stands with Israel now and always, today and on all the days ahead. All the days. Massachusetts stands with you, Israel. We stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters. The atrocities we've seen documented since Saturday morning shock the soul. The scale of the cruelty of the attacks is hard to fathom. And it should not need to be said, but it must be said, they are indefensible. We join President Biden and people across the world in condemning these acts of terror. We condemn them as a matter of fundamental human decency. We condemn them as attacks on our own beloved community here in Massachusetts. Our bond with Israel is unbreakable. It's unbreakable because it is built on so many bonds. Mothers and fathers, grandparents, sisters and brothers, cousins, and lifelong friends. Massachusetts, and I say this to everyone in Massachusetts, know that Israel has always been here for us, Massachusetts. It has been here for us in our darkest hour. When the Boston Marathon was bombed 10 years ago, the MGH emergency teams have been trained by Israeli counterparts on how to respond to mass casualties. That training saved lives in Massachusetts. And in the aftermath, an organization, the Israel Trauma Coalition, came to Massachusetts, and they used their hard-won wisdom and experience to help us heal. Added to that, thousands of acts and statements of solidarity from our friends and family in Israel. Now, the Israeli and Jewish community is yet again in the midst of profound trauma. So we will be here for you as you have always been here for us. Know that we are here for you, we are here with you, and we will stay here with you through the pain, however long this takes. You will never be alone in Massachusetts. We hold the people of Israel and our brothers and sisters in the Jewish community in our hearts. God bless you, and may God protect all who are in harm's way.
Thank you, Governor. Now, Marc Baker, President and CEO, Combined Jewish Philanthropies.
Thank you, Governor Healey, and thank you all for being here today. It's just about 5 years ago this month that we were gathered right here in this spot after the worst massacre of Jews ever on American soil. And here we are again, in the wake of another massacre, a brutal and violent assault on innocent human life, this time on the soil of our Jewish homeland, this time in proportions that we can barely begin to fathom. I am angry and appalled at these barbaric attacks on mothers, grandmothers, little children. It's reminiscent of the darkest moments of Jewish history and human history. I'm also heartbroken and grieving, together with Israel and Jewish people around the world. This is not just a crisis happening far away or over there. This is personal. It touches all of us. To the Israelis here in Boston, we are here for you, and we are here with you. My wife and I woke up this past Shabbat morning to texts from our 19-year-old daughter who's living in Israel this year, studying and volunteering. Texts letting us know that she had spent the night in and out of a bomb shelter. She's scared. But when I asked her, do you want to come home? She said, Abba, Dad, where can my Israeli friends go? This is their home. She spent yesterday, along with other Israelis, packing boxes of supplies for victims and their families. Because when our family and our friends are suffering and in crisis, that is what we do. We show up and we do whatever we can to help. That's what we're doing here today, and that's what we will do for the days and weeks to come for as long as we need to. First, we grieve. Together with Israel, we feel sadness, pain, and loss. And we pray for the safety and well-being of the victims and their families, and for the safe return of the captives who are in a living hell right now. We grieve and we pray together. Second, we unite. We unite in clarity and solidarity with Israel and with our community. Those who seek to destroy us also seek to divide us. We will defeat them when we stand together. We raise our voices to declare without any equivocation, we condemn terror and hate. We condemn the demonization of Israel and the dehumanization of Israelis. This is a war of defense. And as President Biden said clearly, Israel has a right to defend itself and its people, full stop. Now is the time to put our shared values and mutual responsibility for one another and for Israel ahead of the things that might divide us. To our friends and allies, with special thanks to the leaders who are up here with us today, to the Boston Police and Parks Department, thank you for your love and support. Knowing that you stand with us means so much to us. We need you, and Israel needs you with us in this fight for our dignity and for our lives. We grieve together. We stand together. And third, we take action together. We've showed up here today, and we're going to need to keep showing up, standing up, and supporting Israel in the days ahead. CJP's Fund for Israel at War, which opened just 2 days ago, will get 100% of everything we raise directly to the most critical needs in Israel. And in less than just 48 hours, we've received over 1,000 gifts and almost $1 million. Thank you. We hope to double that number by the end of today. Please give whatever you can. I have faith in the strength, the spirit, and the resiliency of Israel and the Jewish people and of our greater Boston community. This strength comes from our sense of unity and responsibility for one another, and from our willingness to protect our values and our future. That's what we're doing here today, and that's what we will continue to do together. Thank you.
The strong, unconditional, bipartisan support for Israel from the United States government, from the president on down this week, is heard and appreciated. We are grateful and pleased to be joined by several members of the Massachusetts congressional delegation who we will hear from today, beginning with our senior senator, Elizabeth Warren.
Thank you, and thank you, Jeremy, for bringing us together. Thank you all for being here. I am here today to stand with all of you. I'm here today to stand in solidarity with the people of Israel. I'm here today to say unequivocally, there is no justification for terrorism ever. I am here because my heart is with the innocent civilians suffering from this violence. My heart is with those who lost their lives too early. with those who have lost loved ones, with those who have been wounded in body and spirit. I am here to grieve with you. I am here to stand in solidarity. But standing in solidarity does not mean standing still. Standing in solidarity means action. It means shouldering the obligations of a strong and faithful ally. President Biden has made clear that the people of Israel have the full support of the United States in the wake of this devastating terrorist attack. And as a member of the Armed Services Committee, I am committed to Israel's safety and security. The Senate has work to do. We must immediately stop delays and confirm an ambassador to Israel. And we must follow up by ending the political games that have let one senator block 308 military promotions. When our allies face threats from those who would destroy them, we need a military command that is at full strength. The invasion of Israel following the invasion of Ukraine underscores that we live in a dangerous world, and we cannot allow senior diplomatic and military posts to go unfilled. I know everyone here wants a just and lasting peace. Today, our job is to remind our friends in Israel and to remind people all around the world that we stand with Israel against this terrorist attack. Our job is to reaffirm to Israel and reaffirm to people all around the world that America will be a steadfast ally. We pray for peace, we care for each other, and we ready ourselves for the challenges ahead. Thank you all.
There are tens of thousands of Israelis and Israeli Americans living here in Boston, including students on many of our college campuses and staff who work with them to support their needs as Jewish students on campus. We welcome Sapir Reznik, the Jewish Agency for Israel Fellow at Harvard Hillel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sapir Reznik. I'm the Jewish Agency Israel Fellow at Harvard Hillel. On Saturday morning, I woke up to a terrifying new reality. Family members, friends, all of Israel under attack. As of this moment, there are 2,500 wounded and 150 people kidnapped to Gaza. Children, young children, mothers, men, adults with dementia, severely disabled people, people with special needs. All of them brutally kidnapped. There are videos of children and women being dragged in cars back to Gaza. Among them, my friend's father, Ohad. I pray for his safe return. We know he is held captive in Gaza only because of videos from Hamas sources. My friend Shachel's young brother, Yoad, is also missing. We still don't know where he is. One of my closest friends, Hadar, was hiding in Sderot while Hamas terrorists attacked her home. We didn't hear from her for 24 hours. It is important to say, loud and clear, these are war crimes. This is terrorism. As a woman, I couldn't sleep knowing that there are women like me, young women, teenage girls, who are being held in Gaza. I don't want to think about what's happening to them. As of now, 800 people have been brutally murdered. Whole families have been wiped out completely. These are friends and families. There are young students like me, brutally murdered. Young children who hid for hours. They were unarmed. They were not soldiers. They were just children. I stand here in front of you, the community of Boston. I was here at the age of 18, serving for a year in different schools and synagogues. I know many good people who cry out in this pain with me. Thank you. Please, don't let me stand alone at the front. We, the Boston community, must stand together and show that we have power and courage. This is not a time to be silent. Thank you for gathering today. We are not alone. Part of my mission here is working with Harvard students. You are the future leaders of the Jewish community and beyond. You must speak out against injustice and untruth about Israel, even if it will be unpopular with your peers. I completely reject the statements issued by various Harvard student organizations attempting to justify what Hamas has done. It deliberately ignores the immense pain, the war crimes we are witnessing. I pray for the safe return of all of my friends and everyone called to reserves, members of my family helping to defend my country and our people. Like every Jewish community, we are grieving today for those lost. If you stand for human rights, if you stand for peace, if you stand against terror, you stand with Israel. Yehi zichram baruch.
Sapir, you do not stand alone. We all stand with you, and we stand with you in calling upon the Harvard administration to denounce these hateful, despicable messages. We continue to hear from the members of our federal delegation who are standing in solidarity with Israel, and we welcome Senator Ed Markey.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone who has come here today. As President Biden and all the elected officials here reaffirmed this weekend, Israel has the support of the United States. That is a bond that will never be broken. We stand with Israel. Israel's people have the right to live in their rightful homeland, free from fear, free from violence. No family should go to bed at night frightened that a rocket will land on their roof simply because of who they are and where they live. That's why I support the Iron Dome system to protect lives, to save lives, to support Israel's security. I have been to Israel many times, and we condemned the heinous attack this weekend on Israel that saw the targeting and vicious murder by Hamas of innocent civilians, of children, and of seniors. The continued civilian casualties and the taking of innocent hostages is reprehensible. It will only repeat the devastating cycle of violence, of grief, of loss. Hamas must release the hostages. They must. Hamas wants continued instability, not normalization. They are violent extremists. They gain support when there is a crisis. That is why the United States and the international community must keep pushing for diplomacy and the ending of civilian casualties on all sides. There must be a de-escalation of the current violence. The United States should... Many of you have family. Many of you have family in Israel now, and many more have those who have lived through brutal wars to ensure the ongoing survival of the Jewish state. We grieve with you. We also know that anti-Semitic incidents in America are at their highest recorded level since the 1970s. 5 years ago, we stood here after the Tree of Life massacre in Pittsburgh to grieve, to mourn, that we have to ensure that our Jewish friends and neighbors can never be taken for granted. And we will not condone anti-Semitism in any form here in the United States. And that is something that we must stand and ensure that we are protecting. I believe in peace, and it is my deepest hope that we can draw upon one of the greatest Hebrew traditions, Tikkun Olam, to do the work of repairing the world, to work for peace, even amidst war, for those who have been lost. Yehi Zirah Baruch, may their memory be a blessing. Thank you.
Coming together today would not be possible without the complete and unconditional support of the leadership of the city of Boston, who immediately reached out to express their support, to speak out publicly, and to offer the full operational support necessary to allow us to be here today. Please join me in thanking them, the police, and the Parks Department for their efforts today, and all the others who I don't even know about. And please join me in welcoming the Mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu.
Thank you to Jeremy, JCRC, Rabbi Baker, CJP, and everyone for, in the midst of such horror and sadness, finding the strength to put in the effort to give us the space to be here together. We stand here today on our own sacred and hallowed ground in Boston. Boston Common is the oldest public space, public park in the country. More than 400 years of history that these trees and the ancestors they grew from have witnessed. Major demonstrations of grief, of outrage, where we came together as a city over 400 years to say that we would not stay silent in the face of atrocity, and we do that here again today. Now, I feel a little bit nervous even being up here. I'm standing with folks who have much more knowledge and connection and oversight. I am a city official. My jurisdiction doesn't even cross the Charles River, much less the ocean. But in Boston, for 400 years, we have always taken very seriously that responsibility to stand and speak out with moral clarity. We don't measure our connection to Israel by the geographic distance, 5,500 miles. Boston has always measured our connection with Israel deep in our hearts. It's the bonds across every aspect of our lives and community and economy. And in recent days, our connection has been felt in those frantic, repeated phone calls, just trying to find any information to see if our loved ones are okay. In the searching and asking and gathering of information to try to find some comfort in our hearts, watching our loved ones, watching our family and friends and neighbors suffer. The scale of what has happened over the last several days echoes with the horror and heartbreak of history. But in Boston, it is personal. These are our family members. We mark each and every one of these innocent civilians with our own heartbreak. And so Boston stands with our Israeli community here locally. Boston stands with our greater Jewish community. And Boston stands with Israel. We will continue to stand with Israel in grief, in outrage, and we stand with Israel in love and solidarity for justice, for security, and for peace.
We invite up Rabbi Noah Cheses from Young Israel of Sharon.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you, Mayor Wu. The rabbis of the Talmud tell us that the secret sauce of the Jewish people's eternal nature rests upon three things: maintaining good friends, being willing to fight for our lives and our values, and three, calling out to our Father in heaven through prayer. The first one is what we are all doing here today as a Boston strong Jewish community, supported by great friends with shared values. The second one is what our brothers and sisters in Israel are doing right now. For me, it's literally my little brother, an alumni of Maimonides School, living in Israel, who was deployed to the north to put his life on the line for our values. And the third one, prayer, is what we are about to do right now. As I recite a prayer for Israeli soldiers, the people of Israel, those captured, I will recite Psalm 121, which asks God to be a protector of the Jewish people and of good people world over. And then we will sing together, Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. First, Psalm 121. Shir Lamalot, Esainai El Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? Ezri mim Adonai, Oseh shamayim va'aretz. My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. Al yitein lamot raglecha, Al yanum shomrecha. He will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. Hine lo yanum velo yishan shomer Israel. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yeminecha. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka ve'yareach balayla. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. God will guard you from all harm. He will guard your life. Adonai yishmor tzeitcha uvoecha, me'ata v'yad olam. God will guard your going and coming now and forevermore. Those who know the tune to Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael, about us all being brothers and sisters, I encourage you, sing loudly. Those who do not, please hum along. Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. Hanetunim batzara, batzara uvashivya, haomedim bein bayam uvein bayabasha. Hamakom yirachem, yirachem aleihem v'yotziem mitzara liravacha umeyafel aleora umishibud alegeula hashta Bagala uvizman kariv. One more time on that high part. Hamakom yirachem, yirachem. Yotziem mitzara liravacha umeyafel aleora. Umishibud legeula hashta. Right now. Bagala uvizman kariv. Thank you for singing strongly together.
Our community is strong because of the vast network of leaders and organizations who work together, organizations within our Jewish community, Jewish leaders serving in public life, and the allies they build and hold on our behalf and in our shared commitment to our civic society. We will now hear from several of those leaders and from those allies, beginning with Rabbi Jonah Steinberg, Director of the New England region of the ADL.
Tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehom. Wild and waste and night on the face of the abyss. But this right here is let there be light, let there be firm ground to stand on. What words are there to say as we witness parents seeing online footage of their little children carted off in captivity amid a rampage of hate? Well, I'll say this, with almost half of Jews alive today living in the state of Israel, and Israel so small a country, more and more of us gathered right here are finding ourselves scant degrees away from the terror and the horror and the morning. And I will say we cannot fight anti-Semitism, we cannot stand against hate of all kinds without acknowledging, without calling out the murderous hatred that has confronted Israel since its inception. Decades of treaties, peace talks, and accords have shown us the truth that there is another way apart from the murderous path of Hamas, but once again we are all victimized and held hostage by the false terrorist narrative of a bloody zero-sum game, an extension of the same hate that has menaced and pursued the Jewish people for centuries. But do you know what the nightmare for Hamas is? Not war. That's exactly what they want and what they've so much as asked for. Their nightmare is this, right here. Our standing together in allyship to say their hate won't stand. I have to add, Sapir, having served as a chaplain on Harvard's campus for 12 years, caring for that community, we do not want to see crimson in this city become blood on the... What? We do not want to see crimson in this city become blood on the hands of those student groups who have signed on to such a despicable letter. I am so grateful to call to the microphone our dear friend Tanisha Sullivan, president of the NAACP Boston branch.
I've been here too many times in the past few years in moments of pain like this, moments of loss, moments of wondering just how far we've come when it feels like we keep getting pulled back. It was never a question for me where I would be today. Because more than friends, we're family. The truth is, I've really struggled with finding the words to say, but as someone who comes from a faith tradition, and as someone who comes from a people that has experienced so much pain, I've done what I know to do, and that's to pray. And so for me, my prayer has been Jehovah God. As we seek to understand why, as violence pervades and we mourn the loss of loved ones, we seek justice. Jehovah, our God, as our world becomes more fractured, as desperation sets in with hope under attack, we seek freedom. Jehovah, our God, as we carry the beliefs of our ancestors, as our anger rises and we cry out for guidance, we seek peace. Once again, we find ourselves in this historic place together as a display of unity, believing that even in our darkest hours, justice, freedom, and peace are all possible. Now, to be clear, hate is the source of our pain today. Anti-Semitism, racism, sexism, homophobia, bigotry, they all come from the same place. They're all rooted in fear and hate, and they are all a threat to our humanity. So today, we see what happens when anti-Semitism goes unchecked. Children kidnapped, civilians killed, terrorism allowed for a moment to take hold. But as hate is the source of our pain, beloved, we can't allow hate to prevail. Love is the only answer. Love is what will keep us at the table when we want to get up, and love is what will cause us to find a way forward when there seems to be no way. Love is what will give us strength in this moment to make the tough decisions that this war requires. And love is what will soften the hearts of humankind, allowing us to always see ourselves in each other's eyes. And so I leave you with Jehovah Nissi. And I pray that our God will fill us with love as we fight for justice, freedom, and peace.
Amen. Please welcome Congressman Jake Auchincloss.
Israel is at war. For so many of us here, that is not just a geopolitical challenge, but a deeply personal reality. Some of you, I fear, may know one of the victims or one of the hostages. Many of you, I expect, have friends and family being called up from the reserves. Show me your hands. How many of you here know somebody in Israel where a loved one is being called up? Show me your hands. I have been in their boots before, and I will tell you, your love gives them courage. Your love gives them courage. This will be a hard war. Israel needs the support of its most important ally, the United States. Our fellow democracy is fighting for freedom. The Jewish people are defending their right to a secure homeland. President Biden has reinforced his rock-solid and unwavering partnership. I will continue to encourage the administration to make real that rhetoric through the provision of all military and diplomatic support necessary. But Congress must also act. We've heard from our senators the good work that the United States Senate must continue to do, and they have been ferocious champions to do it. But the House of Representatives is paralyzed. With even greater urgency, I implore House Republicans to jettison their extremists, to enable bipartisan governance, and to work with Democrats in passing the policy that Israel expects and deserves from its most trusted ally. In addition to materiel, Israel needs moral support from Americans. Now is not the time. Now is not the time for equivocation. Hamas is an internationally recognized terrorist organization that is executing and raping civilians. Israel is a liberal democracy with the right and responsibility to defend itself and its citizens. De-escalation is not possible when they are taking hostages. And Israel did not ask America to de-escalate on September 12th, 2001. We stand with Israel.
Please welcome Massachusetts Treasurer Deborah Goldberg.
So I'm going to take this to a different place. I look out over the crowd, and it's mainly members of our faith. And I thank those of you who are not members of our faith for being here today. But I am going to speak to those out there who went on CNN yesterday and said, well, what do you expect? What do you expect after 75 years of occupation and apartheid? I don't expect a woman with dementia at 82 years old to be dragged into the Gaza Strip. I don't expect a child's cell phone to be used to videotape the murder and slaughter of the entire family and uploaded to the internet. My family and I have always stood for a two-state solution. The Middle East, I'm sorry, but the only way, and don't boo me, my husband was born in Ramat Gan, his family was killed in the Holocaust, I was conceived in Jerusalem. I am a Zionist, and I defend Israel at all costs, and Israel, anti-Israel is anti-Jews worldwide. Hamas murders and tortures their own people. They hold the civilians of Gaza as jailed within its walls. The Israelis, for years, have tried and prayed for a solution. And when you boo me about a two-state solution, you're booing my Israeli friends. The people who work, who have families, who bring up children, they all want to live side by side in peace. And so, when I see across campuses and across communities in our very own state cheer what happened yesterday, the day before, and what will come, I have to say, you go live in Tel Aviv. You live the way the Israelis do, and you then will understand. No one would live in Coolidge Corner in my community and have people from up on Corey Hill jumping in and stabbing and killing and murdering and kidnapping. Let's see how quickly your tune will change. Tel Aviv is Boston with more sunshine. Haifa is Cambridge. The people who live there are you and me. Not some strange group of people from a foreign land. These are people who have suffered for years. A Holocaust survivor in a wheelchair, a 97-year-old woman dragged into the Gaza Strip so she can be stepped on and spit on and tortured. Understand this, America. Understand this, people in Massachusetts. Understand this, kids on college campuses. This is what we're dealing with, and this must stop now. And as a last comment, I want to share with you the first person not of our faith to reach out to me on Saturday was my dear friend, Maura Healey. Thank you, Maura.
we invite up Rob Lykin, the director of AJC New England region.
I can't begin to tell you what it means to stand here and look out and see all of you here today. We are strong. We will remain strong. We will remain strong. And Israel will prevail. On Saturday morning, Shabbat, at 5:30 in the morning, my wife woke me up and said, Israel is at war. And I thought, that can't be. The national director of the American Jewish Committee is in the United Arab Emirates at this very moment celebrating the 3rd anniversary of the Abraham Accords. In those 3 years, we've seen an extraordinary change. Diplomatic relations developing, trade relations developing, cultural relations developing, interfaith relations, and not just in the United Arab Emirates, in countries across the Middle East and to varying degrees. There was a sense that a new age is developing, a new era, a future based on cooperation and coexistence. But Saturday morning reminded us that there is another Middle East, led by Iran, with its proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, and others. This other Middle East rejects the idea of cooperation. It rejects the idea of coexistence. They say publicly that their goal is the destruction of the state of Israel and the establishment of a pan-Islamic theocracy across the region. Proponents of this Middle East are terrorists. They think nothing. They think nothing of murdering children, the elderly, mothers in cold blood. They reject women's rights. They reject religious freedom. They reject the right of people who are gay to love the person that they choose. They reject democracy, they reject human rights, and they are committed to violent struggle. In this moment, we should not be afraid to say that the struggle that Israel is facing and the struggle that we're facing is a genuine struggle between good and evil. There is no possibility of peace between Israel and the Palestinians, regrettably, as long as Hamas is there, which rejects accommodation with Israel on any terms. But let's be clear. There's a terrible struggle that's about to begin. It's already begun. People are going to suffer. Palestinians will suffer along with Israelis, many of them also innocent. The question for us, though, today is whether after 2,000 years of exile and persecution, there are still those who seek our destruction. And we will not let that happen. This weekend, I was approached by a young man who I've known since he was a child. He called me up and he said, I have friends who are in the IDF. I have friends who are going into battle now. And he said to me, I'm an American, but I feel I should be there, and he began to cry. And he asked me, what is it that I can do? What is it that I can do now? It's the right question. There will be many, many, many things expected of us in the months and months to come. I can't predict what they all are. But what I know fundamentally is that the people of Israel need to feel our love. And today we are here together to offer that love. And we need to continue to do that day after day, week after week, month after month, until Israel finds its security. Am Yisrael Chai. It's now my pleasure to introduce Colette Phillips, the visionary founder of Get Connected, a colleague and a friend to so many of us, a true hero of this community. Colette Phillips.
Good afternoon. Today I am here to stand in solidarity with my Jewish brothers and sisters and to unapologetically support Israel and the Israeli people in this time of immense sadness and grief. I denounce terrorism and the barbaric violence and massacre perpetrated by Hamas against innocent civilians and the anti-Israeli hate and Jewish hatred that motivated this barbaric action in kidnapping of children and women. One of my heroes, the late Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel, said, "We must take sides." And today there is only one side to take. Neutrality and silence are not an option, for silence is complicit, and silence, as Elie Wiesel says, empowers the tormentor and not the victims. If you care about democracy, then you stand with Israel. Israel is the only democratic country in the Middle East. It is the only country that is multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and stands and supports reproductive rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and religious rights. As a Black woman, I know the reality of violence and hate. And I also know that my history teaches me, both my Black and Jewish, yes, I am Jewish, has taught me the importance of allyship and solidarity. So today I am here to say I share our collective pain and we grieve together with Israel. We all want peace for Israel and her neighbors, and I stand with Israel in its pursuit of peace. But today I call on the Arab world and the Palestinians who want peace to condemn and denounce this kind of brutality and terrorism. And they must also condemn the terrorist organizations of Hamas and Hezbollah. And they must go beyond that and affirm Israel's right to exist and to defend itself. Perhaps the late Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir said it best. Peace will come when those who seek the destruction of Israel and the Jewish people love their own children more than they hate Israel and the Jews. I stand with you. I am here with you. I am here for you. I am you. To all those who were massacred, I say, Yehi Zikram Barak. May our memories of them be a blessing. Am Kai Israel.
Before we come to concluding prayers and singing the Hatikva together, we invite up our final speaker, Lital Carmel, Vice President of New Leadership of the Israeli-American Council.
Shalom, חברות וחברים. Hello, friends. Saturday was the worst day in Israel's 75-year history. The numbers are so big, there is no household left untouched. And it is hitting here as well, with 9 American citizens killed so far, and community member from Lexington who lost the father of her child, and Newton resident who lost her beloved nephew. The fighting inside Israel continues as we speak in the south, in the north, and all over, with rockets targeting major cities. This is not the time to be a bystander. The world is watching. The people of Israel are watching. Your friends and neighbors are watching, and your children are watching. We must lead the way, exemplify resilience and resolute. I have no doubt we will prevail. I have no doubt that we will come out the other end stronger and more united. But the mental and physical price, the lives lost, all of that will be too big to bear. To overcome that, it requires each and every one of us here today. Today, we have all been drafted to the Israel Defense Force, as we are all called to stand up and defend Israel. We are the deep home front of the Gaza envelope, and we all have our front lines. Reach out and support families who their loved ones have been drafted for active military duty. They need help with meals, errands, emotional support, and more. There are many in our community, and some of them are with us here today. Know you are loved and supported. There are many avenues to donate directly to Israel, to support IDF, to support the citizens of Gaza envelope, as those who survived lost everything. The battle over consciousness is one of the most critical front lines in today's world. Retweet, share, report, and utilize all social media tools at your disposal. Now is the time to talk about what is going on in Israel with everyone around you. Reach out to public officials, heads of organizations. They all need to be made aware. Share the data, tell the stories. Our brothers and sisters are counting on us to represent them well. They suffered enough. Reach out to superintendents, heads of schools, administrators in colleges and universities. We need to make sure they provide a safe and supporting environment for our children. Use your voice. Put your talent to good use. Activate your network. Volunteer whenever needed. Support your friends and neighbors. Donate and send basic and emergency gear. Today, we have all been drafted to the Israel Defense Force. Thank you.
To conclude today's gathering, we invite up Rabbi Chazan Aliza Berger of Temple Emmanuel Newton.
Friends, it is so important for us to take this moment to grieve even as we stand strong. Please join me in the memorial prayer. Emalei rachamim, shochem ameromim, ametzei menucha nechona, tachat kanvei Shechina, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמע את כל אחינו שנהרגו ונצרכו מארץ ישראל, שהלכו לעולמם בגן עדן תימנו Anam balarachamim, astirete meseter knavecha leolamim, utzror bitzror achaim et nishmoteim. Adonai nacholatam, v'yanuchu b'shalom. Amen. God of compassion, please open your arms and welcome into your sheltering presence the souls of all those who have been killed, murdered, whose lives have been cut short. May you see in them the many worthy, beautiful deeds they have performed in the land of the living. May you lift up the light that was uniquely theirs. May you make their memories a blessing for us, for all those who knew them and all those who loved them. And may you help us to channel their blessing, to channel their memory, to become their living legacy so that their deaths were not in vain. May we lift them up. May we continue on with the blessing of their lives, determined to create a better future for our children. For this we say together, Amen. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'olma divrach yirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chai echon u'vyom echon u'v'chai t'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mavorach le'olam l'olmei maya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitrobam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudesha, brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'olma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Friends, we are a people of hope. We have been through dark times and we have emerged in light. Our ancestors knew what it was to fight for a dream and to make that dream a reality. We stand here today in solidarity and in determination. We will sing together. Together, we will send our voices to our beloved families and friends who are fighting for Eretz Yisrael, who are fighting for our homeland, who are fighting to survive. We are not just going to survive, we are going to thrive. And we will always keep singing together. Kol od balevav benima